This is PRIME7 Local News with Madeleine Collignon, Kenny Hinkley and meteorologist Carl Linders with your local weather. Now, PRIME7 Local News at 6.
Tonight, a Riverina man caught in the middle of America's most deadly mass shooting.
A breakthrough in the investigation into Kath Bergerman's disappearance.
A cache of weapons found in a car in Albury, including 12 throwing knives.
And it's warming up for Wednesday. Your midweek weather details shortly.
Good evening. 59 people have died and more than 500 are wounded after a gunman opened fire on a crowd at a country music festival in Las Vegas.
A Riverina man was staying on the 32nd floor of Mandalay Bay Resort, right next door to the gunman. Other locals travelling in the US have also been impacted by what is now the worst mass shooting America has ever seen.
Chaos erupted at the Route 91 Country Music Festival as a lone gunman unleashed machine gun fire on 22,000 unsuspecting concert-goers. 59 people have been killed, more than 500 are wounded and the numbers are still climbing.
It was an act of pure evil.
Wagga's Brian Hodge was caught up in the madness. The production manager was staying on the 32nd floor of the Mandalay Bay Resort in the room right next door to the man responsible, 64-year-old Stephen Paddocks.
I kind of just pushed everybody into the elevator and just said, all right, everybody, let's get out. And I got my staff and we went straight under bushes in trees. Everybody kind of was dispersing everywhere, but because I, realised that the guy was up high, I was like, we need to be against the building and we need to hide and wait. And we did. We waited for 3.5 hours.
Miss Wagga Wagga Sarah Naven was supposed to be in Las Vegas, but changed her travel plans at the last minute, instead staying in New York. Even there, she was caught up in the chaos of America's gun debate as a large protest erupted at Times Square.
But the right to bear arms is so strongly promoted. You can even buy guns in Walmart. So really ask the question, how many further tragedies will there be before they seriously think about gun laws?
The Las Vegas shooting is now the largest shooting massacre in American history. No more massacres, the NRA! Tamora's Ben Hughes was also in Las Vegas as the tragedy unfolded. At this stage, no Australian lives have been lost. Samantha Costin. PRIME7 News.
There's been a major breakthrough in the disappearance of Wangaratta mother of 3, Kath Bergerman. She was last seen at her home in 2002, but new DNA tests and an anonymous letter have given detectives renewed hope they're closer than ever to cracking the case.
It's a 15-year-old mystery which has, until now, had detectives baffled. Police believe 37-year-old disability worker Kath Bergerman met with foul play, but her body has never been found. Now the forensic re-examination of a piece of duct tape found at the scene could blow the cold case wide open.
There's a number of DNA profiles or part profiles on that tape that are being re-examined with today's technology to see whether or not the advancement in that technology will shore up those profiles.
Miss Bergerman's estranged husband John was charged with her murder, but the charge was dropped in 2007 due to a lack of evidence. Police confirmed her eldest son Stephen is also a suspect.
It's quite obvious they remain suspects in this matter.
In April this year, police also received an anonymous letter providing intimate details of what happened to Miss Bergerman, including who was involved in her abduction and murder. They've now urged the writer to come forward.
You know who you are, and you need to contact us, because you hold the key to potentially solving this matter.
$1 million reward and potential indemnity from prosecution is on offer for information leading to the apprehension and subsequent conviction of the person responsible for Miss Bergerman's disappearance. Police are quietly optimistic they're close to solving this 15-year-old riddle.
There are people out there that know what happened.
Josh Ribberich, PRIME7 News.
A Walla Walla man set to face court after police uncovered drugs and a dozen throwing knives during a routine traffic stop in Albury. Police say they pulled the 24-year-old driver over just after midnight on Monday along Mate Street, where he tested positive for methamphetamine. Officers also found cannabis, LSD tablets and ice on the driver, as well as 12 throwing knives in a pouch beneath his seat. He'll face court later this month.
A huge tract of vacant land between Wodonga and Lake Hume could soon be home to as many as 16,000 people. Under plans released today, more than 6,000 homes will be built over the next few years.
1,000 hectares of farmland in the Leneva Valley is set to become the region's biggest development site. There are plans to construct 6,153 dwellings, 2 schools, parks and a sports centre. It will effectively connect Wodonga and the existing township of Barranduda.
We are continuing to grow. We're continuing to be one of the fastest, if not the fastest, regional growth city in Victoria.
Once the largest greenfield site in Victoria, environmental issues were a major consideration through the planning phase. The Mayor says landowners and developers must abide by strict rules when they build.
This takes it another step forward as well, where we also start nominating other green spaces and how those interact with residential housing.
The precinct will be released in stages in the coming years, creating hundreds of mainly construction jobs in the process.
The jobs associated with the schools and the town centres, and the community centres. So it's expected to bring about 700 jobs in regards to that.
Council will hear the concerns of existing residents during the final 2 months of a consultation phase. Residents will have until December 1st to submit their feedback. Eleanor Tabone, PRIME7 News.
Well, it's been the worst flu season in Australian history, with more than 70,000 cases reported across the country. Hospitals across our region will now receive a major funding boost to help ease the burden.
Hospitals across the northeast will get $3.8 million to help cover the cost of a horror flu season. Albury Wodonga Health will get $1.7 million. Northeast Health Wangaratta will receive $1.3 million, while Yarrawonga Health will get more than $100,000. The state government says the funding will go to flu-related costs in hospitals.
This will enable hospitals to treat more people more quickly, have designated areas for people presenting with flu symptoms.
Statistics released by New South Wales Health show how bad this year's influenza season was and continues to be. So it's no wonder Victorian hospitals are feeling the pinch. 2017 is on track for being the worst flu season in Australian history. More than 14,000 cases reported and almost 100 deaths. Emergency departments took a toll. Now heading into the warmer months, has this money come too late? Ms Symes says one of the biggest costs to hospitals was having to keep extra nurses in the emergency ward.
All nurses were on board, lots of leave was cancelled, hospitals did their very best to manage the load. Of course it was a pressure.
Healthcare professionals warn anyone suffering flu-like symptoms to refrain from visiting retirement villages or having contact with babies. Eleanor Tabone, PRIME7 News.
Wodonga TAFE students are set to benefit from a new $4 million state government funding program. The money will help students find a job or further training opportunities, as well as assist with literacy and numeracy skills. Let's get a quick check of the weather now with meteorologist Carl Linders.
And Carl, what a day across the region. It was lovely, wasn't it?
Beautiful spring weather continues, guys, right across the region. Hello, everybody. Temperatures around the October average for this time of year. Well, the early October average, 22 degrees at Wangaratta, 21 at Bright, 22 also for Myrtleford and Albury as well. Not a bad day at all with clear skies. Cloud is really restricted to the New South Wales coast in onshore northeasterly winds. Starting to see the emergence of a trough through parts of WA, and this is going to form into a low pressure system as it starts to move towards us. That's an occluded front there, not drawn in properly, and there's a trough coming through as well. So a bit of activity coming our way, warming up ahead of that, and as you can see by Friday, westerly winds just cooling us down for at least 24 hours. A bit of a mixed bag through the region. I'll take you through what you can expect over the next week. In 20 minutes, guys, spring sprung.
See you soon.
Bye.
Thanks, Carl.
Still to come in PRIME7 News, the plan to double the milk produced by border dairy farms.
And the Salvos on a long walk and short swim for a good cause.
Stay in touch 24/7 with PRIME7 News.
Victoria's Deputy Premier was in Wodonga today to throw his support behind the future of the North East dairy industry. He says despite a tough couple of years, the industry has a bright future.
Stuart Crosswaite has been milking cows on his Kagunya property for the past 12 years. Chair of the Alpine Valley Dairy Pathways project, he says the past couple of years have been among the toughest.
There's no doubt that the local industry and the turmoil that's surrounded it, in the last 2 years in particular, has really impacted the confidence and people's willingness to invest.
But he still believes dairy farming can be a profitable business, even suggesting the region could almost double milk output from 250 million litres to 400 within the next 10 years.
They're saying that can be achieved effectively by the existing dairy farmers, by them taking up the technology and the innovation that's already available in the marketplace.
They've agreed more focus needs to be put on education and family farm succession to secure the future of the local industry.
Through education is engaging with our next generation of youth, future entrepreneurs and business people in the agricultural sector to get them to engage and be part of that, fourth largest industry that we have in the Banambra electorate.
It is a long road and you're trying to change the way people perceive the world around agriculture and dairy. So it doesn't happen overnight, but we're working on that.
Josh Ribberich, PRIME7 News.
Swimming across the Murray River at this time of year isn't the most comfortable way to cross the border, but for Salvation Army Major Brendan Nottle, who's on a 700-kilometre walk to raise money for homelessness, it was all for a good cause.
Brendan Nottle is determined to reduce homelessness one small community at a time by making a 703-kilometre trek from Melbourne to Canberra in 40 days.
The purpose of the walk is really to say to our national leaders that we need a national plan.
Major Nottle arrived in Walwa yesterday after setting off from Melbourne on September 8. This morning, the local Lions Club put on a morning tea to show its support and send him off in style.
We're staying in camper vans in caravan parks and the hospitality of locals has been amazing all the way here.
Safety concerns prevented Major Nottle from walking across the bridge connecting Walwa and Jinjallik. So, despite the chilly conditions, he swam from Victoria to New South Wales.
Well, that was freezing. But it's nothing like what homeless people have to endure on the streets and in terrible conditions. So, if I've got to do that to draw attention to their plight, then I'm more than willing to do it again.
Major Nottle is just over halfway to reaching his $200,000 target, with another 300 kilometres left to go before touching down in Canberra on October 16. He's hoping to collect 105,237 signatures to his online petition, the same amount of people experiencing homelessness today.
I'm doing about 20 to 25 kilometres a day and resting on a Sunday, and I'm feeling remarkably okay.
Jessica Gledhill, PRIME7 News.
Richmond's AFL Premiership celebrations were almost overshadowed by an 8-year-old from Tarawinji. The young Oz kicker who presented Tiger ace Jack Revolt with his Premiership medallion could barely contain his excitement.
He's the kid who stole the show on Grand Final day.
Congratulations, you're a legend.
8-year-old Matt Carell lived every young footy fan's dream on Saturday after he was one of the Oz kickers chosen to present a Premiership medallion to the winning team. And he just happened to draw his favourite player, Jack Revolt. He says there's plenty of reasons why Richmond's number 8 is his number 1.
Because he takes hangers, kicks lots of goals, and he's really effective when he gets the ball.
And the youngster from Tarawinji just loved being in the middle of the MCG, despite the 100,000 crowd.
Great feeling, yeah.
His family say he's still yet to come down from his Saturday high.
I was proud of him. I have reminded him that it will all come to an end.
He hasn't got out of his footy gear.
Well, it seems his footy hero has a knack for fortune telling.
Yeah, in August he sent me a message saying happy birthday. Hopefully I could give him one of those medals and put it around his neck.
That amazing prediction came true.
Pretty lucky to be presenting those grand final medals, mate. Fingers crossed you can pop that little sucker around my neck.
The young gun now has his eyes set firmly on making an appearance at next year's grand final and one day follow in the footsteps of Jumping Jack himself.
Go the Tides!
Josh Rubrich, PRIME7 News.
What a legend. Still to come in PRIME7 News, the AFL's draft hopefuls put to the test.
And Corowa's plan to rise from the ashes.
Corowa Rutherglen's new coach says he's excited to be taking on the hardest job in border footy after signing a host of new players. Mark Armand says he would welcome a merger, though, as the region continues to struggle with what's been called the Corowa cluster.
Mark Armand is the man tasked with the Roo rebuild, and already he's off to a promising start. He's signed 15 local district players as he tries to return the proud club to relevance in the O&M.
I'm generally excited about building a club, and we're on our knees at the moment a little bit. So the challenge for me is to, hopefully one day, whether it be 5, 10, 15 years down the track, be able to look back on it and say, I played a small part in turning it around.
While there is a sense of hope at the club in the wake of the recent player influx, Armand's plan is long-term. He'll look to attract young regional talent to promote sustainable growth.
We need to climb every step on the mountain, because if we try and skip them, we'll be back to square one again pretty quick.
The Corowa Rutherglen board will meet tonight with other clubs in the region to discuss the Corowa cluster. There are currently 5 football clubs in the one area and not enough players to sustain them all. And while Armand says he's just there to coach and won't be going to tonight's meeting, he admits a change is needed.
Clubs need to merge. The statistics just show that there's not enough players in the area. So I think long term it'd be really good to do something different. It would be a massive change. A lot of people fear change, but I think it could work, yeah.
Armand and the Roos begin pre-season later this month. Fletcher Doherty, PRIME7 News.
Some of our brightest footy stars begin at one of the world's most intense job interviews this week. The AFL Draft Combine starts today in Melbourne and will put the country's brightest footy prospects through 4 days of physical and mental testing. And among this year's group are 3 border hopefuls. Murray Bushrangers Charlie Spargo, Harry Jones and Ben Patton will all attend the Combine with hopes to impress an AFL club. The charter racing team are one big happy family, literally. The border-based team are the only team of their kind in the Dunlop Series at the moment, and they prepare for the biggest weekend in Australian motorsport.
They're the Border family taking it up to the big boys of Australian motorsport. Matt is the driver, his brother is the mechanic, Dad's the boss, and Mum just helps out where she can.
It makes it a lot more special, I think, the way we do it when we do have good results. We're the only ones left, especially at this level, doing it like we do it. It's a full family team.
And today the charter family is Bathurst bound for their 3rd crack at Mount Panorama. They've had ordinary luck at the big race in the past, but are confident they can turn that around.
I just want to have a good, clean performance. I've got on a few people whose pace I want to be able to run with, and try and prove that I can do it.
Those drivers Charter has in his sights probably include the other border locals who'll be racing as well. There are 4 Albury natives who'll compete in the Dunlop Series this weekend. Macaulay and Andrew Jones from Brad Jones Racing, Jordan Boys and Charter himself.
4 drivers in the Dunlop Super 2 category from Albury, all running super competitively. It's pretty cool for this fairly small town.
Brad Jones Racing have unveiled yet another livery for Nick Percat ahead of Sunday's big race. Percat and Macaulay Jones will sport this look on Sunday, while Charter and the fleet of locals in the Dunlop Series will race on Saturday. Fletcher Doherty, PRIME7 News.
Yarrawonga star Mark Wiley has won the club's best and fairest in a landslide. The former Carlton and GWS midfielder took home the award by one of the biggest margins the club has ever seen. Wiley polled 153 votes, a staggering 95 more than runner-up Xavier Leslie. He was also named player of the finals in what's been a dream debut season at JC Lowe Oval for the 24-year-old. Warmer and longer days. Do you want the dry weather or some rain to come through? Stay with us. Carl will give us the latest weather outlook straight after the break. Back to Carl now for a closer look at our local weather forecast.
And Carl, it was pretty warm today, but it's set to get even warmer over the next couple of days.
Yeah, it's a nice change in the atmosphere. Maddie, having a bit of spring warmth across the region, and northerly winds are helping to bring that warm air down from central parts of the nation. As you can see, there's a trough also forming along that boundary between the warm air and the cool air. Could get some showers and storms on that. Depending on the timing of that change will determine how much rain will fall. So I'll keep you posted on that rather tomorrow. We'll have some more showers and storms building up over the weekend, and they could swing in from Sunday afternoon as well. So some changes through the region, which is interesting with the spring changes. We've got another change also lining us up for Wednesday next week. Southwesterly winds will return, so some cooler weather later in the outlook period. But as you can see, showers and storms not as heavy as what is happening in northeast New South Wales, but certainly a change in the weather, which is good after a very cold winter. 25 degrees tomorrow, partly cloudy skies. That fog will lift. It's Thursday. That's the day I really want to focus on. The showers and storms will build up from the southwest, and one of the timing of that change will determine how much rain will fall. At this stage, it's a bit unclear, so I'll take you through that tomorrow. But the temperatures will come down for the end of the working week. A few showers clearing through the afternoon. I think by the end of the working week, it should be fine. Temperatures in the low 20s towards Shepparton and Yarrawonga. As we look through the outlook period, there's still the chance of thunderstorms developing on Saturday. Maybe more likely on Sunday. I think we'll see some heavier showers developing there. Another change on Monday will then bring a band of rain in and clearing in Tuesday. Guys, I'll see you again tomorrow.
Something for everyone.
It is.
Thanks, mate.
And that's all we have time for tonight. You can join the debate on tonight's stories on Facebook.
And also watch tonight's top stories on our website. Thanks so much for watching. Coming up, 7 News from Melbourne.